Out of freaking nowhere, we have a brand new Paper Mario. Paper Mario and the Origami King, get this guys, coming July 17th to Nintendo Switch. So of course we have to get together and talk about this. I can't even talk, I'm so excited about this. And discuss the reveal trailer, which seemed to show off a fair amount about what to expect in this game. Including the origami theme, and the fact that there's apparently an entire Origami King trying to fold up the entire world, and it looks like he'll be pairing up with Bowser to help fend off this new threat. A lot of exciting stuff, including a new battle system, new characters, tons of stuff going on here, but let's just hop into our impressions. John, what did you think?
It's a freaking invasion! The tone is heavy from the get-go. Origami Peach just crawling up to you, saying that she's gonna destroy you.
Right?
It's so heavy. I can't wait to dive into this. And it's not quite a return to form, but it is different, and it looks exciting. I'm really interested to see more of this.
I'm not the biggest Paper Mario player. I love Mario games, and I've played just about every Paper Mario game to some extent. But I really like what I'm seeing from this one. I like the idea that they kind of opened it with, like John said, Origami Peach, and even before I understood, I'm like, why'd they go with this choice? This seems weird. And then they kind of reveal that she is amongst the ranks of the villains, and I'm like, oh, that's super cool. Like, you can, Peach is against you in this one. So I'm really excited to see how this plays out, and everything I've seen mechanically and narrative-wise has me wanting to check this game out more. So I think they did good with this. I'm actually really excited to pick it up, and I'm not the type of person that traditionally wants to pick up and play through these in their entirety usually.
Yeah, Peach being against you actually reminded me a little bit of the Mario and Luigi games, because that happens in at least one of them. I forget which one, because they all kind of blend together. But yeah, it is neat seeing that in the Paper Mario series, in case we haven't seen it before. I can't fully remember, but this game is looking great, and the interesting thing is, I guess real quick, would you guys say this is closer to Thousand Year Door, or closer to Color Splash?
In terms of scale, it looks closer to Thousand Year Door. Like, we're going through all these towns. It looks like a connected world. I guess we'll see how connected it actually is, though. But the battle system itself, it seems to deviate from Sticker Star and Color Splash's badge system or sticker system, and it looks a bit more strategic, almost like they've learned a bit from Intelligent Systems' Fire Emblem, kind of. Because it still seems to have those core mechanics of the RPG Paper Mario games, but there's definitely a lot more strategy to it now. So I'd say more in line with Thousand Year Door.
The press release even says the Origami King also introduces a new ring-based battle system that lets you flex your puzzle-solving skills to line up scattered enemies and maximize damage. So yeah, they are incorporating, it seems like a light, puzzle-solving, if not strategy element to it, which you would hope for from a RPG system. For me, though, looking at this, I think this is almost exactly what I wanted, in that I said during my, Color Splash review that, this may not be the exact return to form people were hoping for from the series, but if it continued along this trajectory, I think it could work. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I think this is like the continued lineage of Sticker Star, Color Splash, to Origami King now, where you can see they have been slowly heading back toward the direction of Thousand Year Door, but while still doing its own thing. And I think between like the visual style, the ring-based battle system, and just kind of the way the world looks in general, I think we are reaching more of a crossing over point, or like more of a merger between the two than we have before, and that's what has me excited. I really enjoyed Color Splash, hated Sticker Star, really enjoyed Color Splash, and if this is continuing along the same trajectory, man, I am fully on board. I'm loving what I'm seeing here of the world, the characters, the dialogue seems on point, of course, just digging everything about this.
And like visually, it looks stunning too. Color Splash was already a beautiful game, and this seems to take a few elements of that. Like, a lot of the character models look very similar, the lighting looks very similar, but the materials are absolutely stunning. Like, there's points where they show like the sort of velvety sort of materials, and everything just looks like it was actually crafted out of paper and all these sort of craftsmanship materials. It's a stunning looking game.
Yeah, even the scene where the giant Koopa Troopa like emerges from the dirt, and you see like the dirt, piling up and shooting everywhere. It is just all very attractive, for lack of a better word.
It's very animated too. Like there's that part where they're going down that waterfall, and the way that the paper kind of splashes, which is a weird thing to say, but it looks super cool. It just like everything comes together more coherently than I think it ever has in any of the other Paper Mario games.
Did it make a Color Splash
I'm not going to answer that. Look at the scale as well. Like, most Paper Mario games are actually really linear. Like, look at Paper Mario 64. Most of those areas are just straight paths. This one, though, seems to open things up a lot more. Like, there's this one screenshot where you're looking over this entire field, and it seems far wider and more spread out than any other game in the series.
That's a good point, and the fact that what might be the world map, if you want to call that in this game, being the when you're in the boat, you have free reign of that. It seems you have free control over the boat, be able to go where anywhere in the ocean, similar to say Wind Waker or maybe the Phantom Hourglass, perhaps might be a better example. But I do think I am wondering if this is like the new world map essentially, where you still travel like zone to zone. As opposed to like having a single interconnected world as you saw in the first two Paper Marios, or even the first three, I should say. And it is still kind of sticking closer to how Sticker Star and Color Splash handled it.
I think that's a good compromise, though. It's still giving you control over it, if that is what it's doing. And I think the thing I didn't like about the map in Color Splash and Sticker Star was it just felt very automated. It's like you're visiting levels rather than going to like exploring an entire world. So if they can sort of bridge that connectivity in some sort of way, I think that's a step forward.
I think I actually did enjoy too the world map design of Color Splash because it felt like, well, first off, it had destinations I wanted to visit, but I also enjoy like the kind of the sprawling nature of it and just how fun it felt to kind of like unravel this world. But I didn't enjoy Color Splash Sticker Stars at all, just because it felt very by the numbers, very uninspired. So yeah, I'm excited that we have now like a kind of quasi-world map, seemingly, with more actual exploration though. It's something we haven't had in the newer Paper Marios when it came to the world map. So it does seem to be like this might be less linear, at least in offering things to do. I mean, it's hard to say whether it's linear or not, but at the least you'll have some agency over how you choose to explore things beyond the individual level segments, it seems.
Yeah. Speaking of Sticker Star being by the numbers, all the areas we see in this trailer look super inspired. Like, this is one town that we see, it's like this Japanese-inspired town. And we go to this sort of like Arabian-looking area. It's all looking really unique, and not just visiting like the grass, lava, and water themes that Mario games usually do.
I love that Sniff It town or whatever, that Sniff It Neon City.
Mm-hmm.
And getting back to like the whole exploration element, we also have the scene where you're driving like a dune buggy through the desert, which now I'm almost wondering if like maybe there could be multiple world maps, like maybe the boat's just one segment of the world, and maybe this is another. Where, I mean, I don't know if this is part of the world itself or this is its own self-contained world map, and that tower you see in the distance might be a level. And in fact, I'm actually leaning more toward this idea now.
Yeah, we actually saw one more vehicle as well in the screenshots, being Luigi's cart is back from Color Splash. And I wonder, can we drive that this time?
Oh my god. As Luigi or as Mario, though?
It's Luigi's cart. We can be a passenger, I guess.
One thing I wanted to talk about, I wanted to go back to the battle system for a minute.
Yeah, that's a big point to bring up. So
because I feel like there's a lot to unpack there. That ring system doesn't really work unless you're always fighting in some stadium type of environment.
Well, would you see an audience here? So that's a good point.
Right. That's what I was pointing out. Like, and Toad, at least in the Japanese footage that I saw, is like cheering Mario on, telling him to like, defeat the Goombas. And I have to wonder, like, if they put that much effort into it, it can't be like a one-off location. Mm-hmm. I feel like the ring mechanic seems really central to the battle system. So do you always, like, every single fight find yourself in some ring-shaped stadium? Or
I think you're right, because we have actually seen the battle scene, a battle combat in at least two different scenes, and there was an audience in both of them. So this actually, again, gets back to my point earlier of how they're following the trajectory of Color Splash by combining with Thousand Year Door, because as I might recall, Thousand Year Door took place on the stage in front of an entire audience. So it seems like they're kind of bringing back that element here, in which I wonder, I mean, so, and in that game, there was some interplay between the audience where you could power yourself up by performing cool combos. The characters would throw items up at you from the audience at times. Sometimes there would be enemies in the audience that would throw like rocks at you. So I'm hoping that they're bringing in like a similar, I wonder if it's just background detail or if it is going to play a central role here. But yeah, I think you're right, Steve. I think every battle stage will take place within some kind of arena. which is pretty interesting. And this entire battle system is interesting with like having this three-dimensional element where you now rotate the each individual layer of the ring to line up enemies. And I'm looking at one now from the trailer with a bunch of Hammer Brothers, it looks like, and you can already see how like you're gonna have to think about this, like, because you can throw off, like, you might be able to make a line of enemies that features an enemy you want to target, but it may come at a compromise, or there being less of them in the row that you can target at once. So this is kind of interesting. This might be the deepest combat we've seen, at least from the last three, counting this one, Paper Mario games.
I wonder if the button prompts are going to come back, because in the prior games, if you press A at the right time, you'll do like double damage, or you keep hopping on enemies, and that doesn't seem to be the case from what we see. Like, once all the enemies are in a line, Mario just kind of keeps jumping on them. So, like, do you guys think we're going to be guarding and doing like combos using buttons, or is that something of the past now?
100%. It'll be back.
Yeah, I kind of feel like it has to be. For me, at least, that's what I identify the series combat with, is that...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, like, each jump, like, you'll be able to time it to inflict more damage. I think that's how it worked in Color Splash as well.
It is.
Or maybe it ends your... I forget if it maybe ended your amount of jumps you could do, but yeah, I'm confident it'll be back, because... Yeah, as Steve was saying, I associate the series with that. Like, that alone has inspired other games, like the South Park RPG, and that upcoming, like, indie bug game. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I'd be very shocked if Nintendo dropped the element. But it is Nintendo, so it's never possible.
Well, a big thing about the Origami King as well is it's bringing back partners, in a sense, and I don't think we see them in battle, we haven't yet anyway, but we do see them in the overworld, being like a Bob-omb. We see Mario with Kamek at one point. So, are they going to work in battle, or are they just sort of overworld companions?
Oh, man, the hope is that they'll be in battles as well, to some degree. At least, you know, beyond that, I do find it interesting that you'll be pairing up seemingly with Bowser's minions to try and topple this new menace, which reminds me again a little bit of Thousand Year Door, or even Mario RPG. But yeah, when it comes to battles, that's hard to say. I really hope you do, because it'd be so fun if you had... I think we saw, was it a squad of, was it Goombas? Or no, it was some squad of enemies at some point that offered, Goombas!
Yeah, it was Goombas,
that offer their services. It'd be so fun if you controlled that entire squad at once, or they did something during battle, you know, like maybe surround the enemy and just, you know, I don't know, confuse them, or who knows what.
Yeah, they've got to do something. It'd be a complete waste if they had these partners and they didn't do anything in battle. There's got to be something.
I think so. Now, another interesting element of the battle system is that there seems to be a time limit, where I think we saw at one point there's like a 20-second limit for arranging the rings before attacking, and it looks like you had the option to buy more time. I'm guessing using coins. So that's something new. Like, this is basically an active battle system for Nintendo, which we haven't seen before in Paper Mario, I don't think. And it kind of takes that. The button prompts thing you were just talking about, John, to the next level, where now, like, not only is there like the individual timing component, but now you have this grander time limit, and I kind of like that, because at least I think on paper, I should say, I like it, because because I've said I'd love games with time limits, like that are part of its narrative, especially like Majora's Mask or Pikmin, because it adds a sense of pressure. It gives everything you do more weight, and I wonder that might be what Paper Mario is missing. Like Color Splash's battle system, for as improved as it was over Sticker Stars, was still pretty meandering. And this one, it's going to keep you moving. Like, you can't dawdle unless you have, you know, unless you're Scrooge McDuck with infinite money, it seems. You're going to have to, like, make moves pretty quick. And I like that idea. They can't just sit there and plan endlessly. You gotta decide on the fly what you want to do.
Yeah, I love the idea of buying more time as well, because in Color Splash, they threw coins at you. Like, there was that Rochambeau competition, the rock, paper, scissors thing, and you got so many coins in that game. I think I finished with, like, thousands upon thousands in the end. So to give them more of a purpose, especially in battle, and it not being tied to actually like being able to do moves, that sounds like way more integral than coins have ever really been.
You just reminded me too that I forgot that Sticker Star, maybe Color Splash 2, had things you could buy during the battles as well. In Sticker Star, it was a dumb like slot game where you could randomly increase the chances to do more damage. It was so stupid. So this seems like just a much better implementation of that. Like if they want to have you buy something, it seems like buying time is something that would be more interesting than random chance of scoring more damage.
like I said, I think the battle system is probably the thing that has me most hyped for this game, because kind of that's what comes down to the more action-based elements. But yeah, I like the idea of there being like an active battle system in one of these games. I feel like they've always been proper RPGs, and this kind of nudges them more towards being recognized as such. So I'm cool with that. You know, I can't anticipate a situation where I'd ever probably feel like, oh God, I need more time to figure things out. But I mean, if it's, you know, who knows? Like you said, Andre, I'm a big fan of those types of games where you're up against a time limit, because it does, you know, every decision you make counts that much more. So
Right.
I think you and I share a lot of the same feelings on that, and I'm super excited to see how this actually plays once it comes out. But yeah, the battle system, I've always thought the battle systems in these games in particular were stellar. So I have very high expectations for this.
Same here. I'm stoked. I know a lot of people are hoping for a Thousand Year Door remake. And while I would still like that at some point, I will take a new Paper Mario any day of the week, especially with the trajectory they've been on, where they have made such massive strides to me. And seeing what we've seen here at the Origami King has me so freaking stoked. Everything about this looks great. It even looks oddly cinematic at times for a Paper Mario game. Like, you have that whole, like, the whole sequence of the all the planes in the air, all the paper planes, like an armada of paper planes coming in. It just looks so fun.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because you see those paper airplanes earlier in the trailer, and then towards the end you see a gigantic paper plane crashing into Bowser's airship.
Right.
And so it leads me to wonder if we don't have some like sequence where we're involved in an aerial battle, possibly even using the airship, which would be really cool, because we already know that Mario and Bowser are teaming up.
And vehicles are already a part of the game.
Right. So I'm wondering if the airship, like, we don't finally get to control Bowser's airship and fight off some of these paper planes before it becomes a more traditional fight or something. That would be really cool if we had like a short, like, shoot 'em up section where we got to use the airship to take out paper planes or something.
I'd love that idea.
Do you know what would also be cool? Right at the end of the trailer, we see Mario donning a Samus helmet. What if we can pilot Samus's ship?
Oh my god.
Oh man, that would be beyond my wildest dreams. You can see some other stuff in that shot too. Like, there's a small DK head, and there's a Goomba as well. So it would be really cool if we got to use these in some kind of way.
Yeah,
especially since we know the Goomba gets huge and eats a house.
Good point. Yeah, that would be really fun. That this is kind of like a light crossover thing, and there is some precedent for this, because Samus also appeared in Super Mario RPG, as you might recall, and actually Donkey Kong did too in some form, a slightly twisted form. But yeah, I think that'd be really neat if these go beyond just Easter eggs and they actually are incorporated into the gameplay in some way, whether it's just having some like effect in the overworld or like being used in battle, who knows what. But yeah, it's pretty. And in fact, the character even says, "Is he battling something here?" So it makes you wonder.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, like the way they refer to that. And if you look in the corner, you can see that the DK one is also meant to be worn on your head, because the eye holes are actually hollow. You can see through to the back of the head, or the helmet, or whatever you want to call it. So maybe Mario can put on more than one of these things that's in this room too.
So do you guys have any concerns at all based on what you've seen? Because again, this still seems to be in the lineage of Sticker Star, which has tainted to many tainted the entire series. I thought it had for me too, but then Color Splash came around. I'm like, oh, this game's actually mostly good. But do you have any concerns about this based on anything you've seen or even anything you haven't seen?
I'm optimistically excited. I wouldn't say that I have that many doubts. I think the original battle system is still fine. It's not tired in any way. They could do another game with it, and I'll still love it. But I'm also willing to give something new a chance. And I like how this new battle system looks. So honestly, I don't really have that many doubts.
Yeah, I'm in the same place. I don't think that I'm burned out on Paper Mario in any way. And seeing the trailer, just, you know, it's one of those few games where I look at it and I just think, this is exciting. I'm on board, and that doesn't happen very often. So I nothing they showed has made me doubt the game yet.
The only thing, there are two things I'm concerned about. One, the battle system. I like what I've seen. I like that it seems deeper, and I like the time mechanics seemingly. But it's something I'm gonna really have to go hands on with to know if I really enjoy it or not. Because I remember looking at Color Splash's battle system, and I'm like, oh my god, that sounds so cool. Like, if it has like some kind of deck building element, you can, choose what cards to bring with you in battle, and you have to strategize like which deck you want to possibly bring in. And no, it had none of that. It was just a very while an improvement over Sticker Star, it still felt lacking. So while I'm intrigued by this, I'm still concerned. But I'm also concerned about one other thing that we haven't seen, and that's Bowser speaking. Bowser has to talk. He cannot be silent again like in Sticker Star. So I hope we see some actual dialogue from him, because Bowser can be one of the best characters in this series, in the RPG series in general. So I'm really hoping that he has some dialogue this time, which I believe, as I recall, he did in Color Splash as well. So I'm hoping they continue that.
Yeah, no way is he silent. Not the way they put him. They can't scrumple him up and make him this sort of companion thing and have him mute. No way.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I do think he's gonna play a big role here. I think we will. I think we will see some major partnering with Bowser, which is fun. It's always fun to, I think, partner with the enemy or with what was your opponent over a common foe. And that's also where some of the best interactions have come out in the Mario games. Again, that's one of my favorite things about Mario RPG is like it kind of subverted your expectations in that way. It's like, what? I'm working with Bowser now. Okay.
Right. I desperately want this for a mainline Mario game. Like, we got a taste of it in Odyssey, and I would love to see it in just a proper Mario platformer.
That actually kind of touches on a larger point. I love the characterization of the Mario universe, or the Mario characters in the universe of the RPG games, because they're goofy. Like Bowser in the core Mario games, he's pretty serious. He doesn't really joke around much. He's fun, but he's not funny, or he exists just to be an antagonist. Whereas in the Paper Mario games, he actually has like a lot more personality, a lot more character, and he's just kind of goofy. He's like just like kind of like a lovable goof. Even when you are fighting him, it's like, this guy I can't hate him that much.
Yeah, they do a really great job with that. It seems like the kind of Mario side story games, or the offshoots of the franchise, take a lot more liberties with the characters, and they end up better as a result. Like, they're more fun on both sides. Like, the good guys and the bad guys are more interesting because they're willing to be a little less serious and lampoon themselves a bit.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people are probably quite concerned about the lack of original characters, and it does seem like they are using like Koopas and Toads and just the general Mario cast. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, though. Color Splash does that as well, and I know people don't like it for that reason, but they really did get a lot out of those characters. Like, there's some great dialogue in that game, and they seem self-aware that they've been using that cast as well. Like, there's a moment in Color Splash where there's this huge line of Toads, like hundreds of them, and each one has unique dialogue. And it feels like even though they are using very familiar characters, they get the most out of them.
And getting back to your self-awareness, some of those characters in that line would even comment on the fact, to my memory, like, how do you even tell us apart?
Yeah.
Or they would comment on the absurdity of it. And I'm with you. Like, it's on the one hand, they kind of did, like in Color Splash, kind of like lampshaded it. They kind of justified or tried to justify why they had all these same, why they were reusing all these same character assets. But it worked. It was fun. It didn't feel like a lampshade. It felt like they actually made it work. Now, whether they can keep that going without feeling tiresome in a second game or third game, arguably, I can't say for sure. But if they can pull it off again, I'm not that worried. Because I said before, Color Splash's greatest strength was its dialogue. It is probably Nintendo's best written game, in my opinion. I don't think I've laughed harder at a Nintendo game than I have at Color Splash. And if they are able to maintain that level of wit and quality, I'm fully on board with whatever they're presenting here. And that will go a long ways in making these characters less tiresome to encounter.
For sure.
Yeah, I actually don't mind at all that we're seeing a traditional Mario cast. The Switch is Nintendo's most successful console in a very long time. And a lot of people that have Switches have probably never even heard of Paper Mario. And so those folks might be picking this up for the first time just because it's a new Mario game, and to have the familiar cast might, help sell the game to people that wouldn't traditionally pick up a game like this.
Right.
So, and plus, for me personally, I still love these characters. I've been playing with them since the 80s, and I'm not tired of them at all. It is cool to see new characters, but I think it's okay for it to just be a new antagonist and, kind of like a helper character on the other side of that coin. The origami angle to it is interesting too, because it kind of makes these familiar characters feel foreign in a way.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. We're seeing a different spin on these characters, which we haven't quite before. See that giant Goomba eating the environment, and that's always fun. Although it did remind me, we have seen what actually is kind of funny though, is we actually have seen some origami before in the fourth Mario and Luigi game.
Yeah, in Paper Jam.
Paper Jam, yeah. Probably the worst one, I think.
I paused at the scene where the airplane crashes into Bowser's airship, and if you look closely, Bowser is still a card on that ship. So I'm thinking he's just stuck with you like that for the whole game, or at least a significant portion.
I want him to just be this companion that just pops out every now and then and just becomes a jerk and then pops back inside. That's what he does.
Yeah, like an angry fee.
I love that idea. John, anything else?
I just love the tone of this. Like it seems serious, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's still having fun. But just this sort of invasion style is super cool. And the origami actual assets look terrifying. Like if you look at the Shy Guy, I want to run away from that. So I can't wait to give this a go. It looks like one of the most interesting games in the series so far to me. It all kind of rests on whether they can pull it off from a gameplay perspective, but the premise, I'm so sold.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys just said. And even the invasion angle is once again similar to Mario RPG, where Smithy, appears out of nowhere and you have all these alien enemies you're fighting. They're not going to quite to that same extent here. But yeah, I always love like that kind of where it makes you feel like a stranger in your own world. That's always fun. And seeing Mario's take on it is just always a treat, because you always know Nintendo always treats that stuff extremely well. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how things unravel here. And that's a crazy thing. This is out in 2 months, just a little over 2 months. This is going to be here in no time, especially in these quarantine times. I'll wake up tomorrow and we'll have it in our inbox, hopefully. And I am stoked. I cannot wait to play this. This is so freaking exciting.
The way they dropped it too, there was no lead up. We just looked on Twitter and there was a video for this. It kind of just sets a precedent, like anything can happen. Maybe there'll be even more games coming up soon.
As one who covers this stuff for a living, Nintendo, can you please just keep announcing stuff one at a time? It is so much easier to deal with than having like directs. Like, I actually like this. I like directs. No, I like this drip feed of big content releases instead. So here's hoping. Yeah, a full-scale Mario RPG is on the way, and it's gonna be here in no time. I can't wait. Alright, and I think with that, we're about done here. So thank you so much for watching our Paper Mario and the Origami King discussion. I hope I got that title right. Am I right, guys?
You got it? You nailed it?
Thank God. I woke up literally right before this discussion, so been keeping them together. I think that's the case for most of us, actually, or for Steve at least. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the discussion, make sure to click that subscribe button and ring that bell for tons more on this game. I'm sure we'll have plenty more, including a full analysis, very soon. With that, we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.